listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the business talk show live here on Business Talk Radio, as well as social media. I'm your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. It is my thrill and pleasure to be here with you today. I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach. And my partner and co-host, the formidable Al Cini, is with us. Hi, Al.
I am so glad to be back. Some regular viewers may have missed me last week. Ralph Graves did a great job sitting in for me, but I'm really glad to be back here working with Dr. Jacalyn.
We missed you, that is for sure. And it's good to have you back. We have a comment from Dr. Z. Hi, Dr. Z. It's so good to have you. We just interviewed Dr. Z on the Underdog Show. And I'd also like to say hi to, where did it go? Frank Petrucci and Mohammed Kikish. It's very nice to have you with us today.
Great.
So why don't you tell us what you're up to over at BCAT?
Well, we finally, I'm really glad. It actually fits into what we're going to be talking with Adam Cortez, our guest today, about, which is trying to figure out what it is you actually do and how you can make that relevant to people that are listening. And I think we've finally figured out on our end that we solve the I hate my job problem, that we have a uniquely motivational experience that helps people connect with their purpose. As a result of that, they become more productive. They love their work, and because they love their work, they do more of it and they do a better job of it. And so that's kind of what we've been up to. And Adam is the kind of guy that we need to talk to in order to be able to express that in a way that compels an audience to want to call us and make an appointment.
That's fantastic. Before we bring him out, can you just share with our audience who might not be familiar with BCAT, what BCAT stands for?
The Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit is a systematic way of connecting people with the purpose they serve, whether it's a department within a company or a whole company or a project team within a company. Doesn't make any difference. There's a reason why your group was pulled together in the first place. We reconnect you with that purpose. And by reconnecting you with that purpose, we increase your motivation and greatly increase your job satisfaction.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And what I want to let our audience know that they might not know about you is that you do fantastic, outstanding production of sponsorships. So you actually do commercials for people, and you also do voiceovers.
I've been doing that for you, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's not what I'd call my number one job, but it's a fun thing to do, and it's gratifying getting feedback from people that, again, that the whole challenge there is pretty much what Adam does. When we bring him out, it'll be fun to hear his take on that. Trying to find the message in what everybody says that really nails their why, their reason for doing what they do. And I really enjoy working with advertisers on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn to try to really nail down that why that gets them out of bed in the morning and makes them want to do what they do.
Well, you do a great job at everything you're doing. So
fun experience for me.
We're going to bring Adam onto the show. It looks like his camera isn't on. Oh, here he is.
There he is. He's back.
Let's bring Adam Cortez. He's located in Mexico. He's joining us today. Hi, Adam.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Good. Can I start this one, Doc?
Yes, please.
Okay, I want to say, we said this a little bit before the program, Adam. I used to work for a computer company that made a lot of really terrific products, and they had a big catalog that they listed all their products in. And the sales team at that company used to say, you know what, if our company made sushi, we'd call it cold, wet, dead fish. The complaint was there's nothing exciting about we don't even try to find what's exciting about what we do so that we can motivate people to maybe place an order. How do you solve that problem for your clients?
You know, between market research and talking to the customers, getting an idea of what they're looking for and what they're searching for and how they're trying to find their solution. That's, where you come up with name brands, the descriptions for what the products are going to be or the services. It's just a lot of back and forth with, hopefully the clientele you already have and what else is out there on the market.
Dr. Jacalyn, you're going through a website rebrand now, I think.
Yes.
Wasn't that part of it? Wasn't that one of the challenges you had to face?
Absolutely. And actually, I was sharing the website with Adam, and my website, drjacalyn.com, that's is a work in progress. And it is interesting as a business owner how important your website is, but how little time you actually have to dedicate to it. And so there, at least for me, there are so many moving parts, and the website is integral because that's where people are going to go. And if you don't have something to hook them in that first top part of the real estate space, I guess it's called, then they're just going to go somewhere else. So the work that Adam does is really vitally important to business owners.
Right. So like most business owners, even ourselves, right? When we started our redesign, we just rebranded last year, and we had to hire an outside team to come in and take a look at all of our stuff and what we did and our brand voice, because you can't see yourself in a different light. You're used to what your clients need to see, so they hire you. So hiring somebody else or working with somebody else that can give you the insight that you just aren't capable of seeing is super important. So hiring a third party, even as a web designer ourselves, we had to hire a third party to support us in our rebrand because, we've been in it so long, it's hard to see what we don't see anymore.
Adam, that is such a good point, because a website plays into the business owner's biases. Everything they love about the product, the things that they spend so much time on, the stuff that they busted their hump on, that they spent nights on, that's not necessarily what people want to buy. And so you can sometimes you can be so close to what you're trying to sell that you actually work against your own messaging.
Right. So as I do sales primarily for the company, and I own it, but my job is finding new business. So I know the sales jargon. I know what it's going to take to get someone to close. But on first glance, what people need to see to want to call, to want to book a meeting with me, you're just kind of blind to it. So it's good to have another pair of eyes or multiple eyes on anything, just so you can, get out of your own cycle of what your bias is.
Cool. Adam, a question I have is, when someone works with you, I would think, knowing I have my own website, that they're a little protective or a little overprotective about their website, and this is my baby, and you look at it and go, oh, this baby is not going to grow up.
This is a baby.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because as a web designer, we're in the art space too, right? So there is a level of even what we design or create, it's hard to get critique back as well. So I think we understand best when we're talking to a potential client, when we say, your website needs some help and we can help you, and here's what we can do. We nurture that, I think, softer than somebody else would, where they just come to you and like, yeah, your website's horrible. You need to do this, this, and this. No, there's a gentler approach, because when we work with you and we hand over our artwork that we've created, we don't want you to say the same thing. We want to make sure that there's a mutual acceptance from all parties. And it's hard. It's hard in the art world, the design, the graphic world, because it is our baby. It is our blood, sweat, and tears that went into this. So I think we get it better than anybody else, that there's a sensitivity there when we talk to clients.
We actually have a comment, got a few comments here. So this is from Dr. Z. Excellent point. It's hard to see your bias at times. Invest in a third party neutral. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
That's always a great reason to hire a consultant for just about anything, but particularly I think when you're going to market with what you've built and what matters to you. So that's, I think, where Adam really comes in.
Yeah. Also, Dr. Z said, Al, the work that you're doing is fantastic. So,
well, thank you, Dr. Z. That's very generous of you, and I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Beautiful. So, Adam, you do some other work in addition to websites, right? You also help people with their search engine optimization, and I'm not sure if people are aware of how important that is.
Yeah, so we're a full agency. So we start at your website and help you get that optimized once it's built and organized the right way. And then from that organization structure and getting you on, Google and being search optimized, we do ad spend and all that other fun stuff. Yeah, the SEO portion of it is super important. It's something that a lot of companies kind of just overlook. I think they know the buzzword. They know SEO is something that they should do, but they don't know what's all entailed. And I think that's where most business owners fall short because they just don't know what goes into it. So they'll hire somebody on Fiverr or Upwork or something like that says, oh yeah, we do SEO. And then they're not satisfied with the results because they didn't know what actually went into to get the job done. And so when we talk about SEO, there's the content part of it, creating amazing content that people want to see and read and look at and take part in. And then there's also the technical pieces that make your website faster, that load things correctly for Google, and that Google starts to see and search and crawl your website and really notice that you're there and you're doing something important.
Wow. It's dizzying. I have a technical background. I used to work, as I said, for a computer company. And sometimes people with technical backgrounds think, well, how hard could it be to make a website? And,
right.
I have to tell you, I did build our first website using WordPress. And by the time I was finished, I needed a ton of plugins. And I had all kinds of zoomy stuff on there. I'd see a plugin and I think I got to find a use for it. And when it was all over, what I had was a hot mess. It was just all over the place. It wasn't really clear. It was not that easy to navigate. A lot of moving parts, but the motion actually distracted from the message. I think there's a maturity level that you need to reach in order to be able to do a really good website. And how many of these have you done, Adam? Have you done a bunch?
Yeah, so I've been doing this almost 14 years now. So quite a while. I started in high school, building websites for my dad's buddies that own businesses. And with that, look at the iterations of what I started with when I was a kid and what we're doing now. There's the same thing, right? You had the flashiness, you're just playing with tools and, oh, this thing's cool. How can I integrate this to, what we do now? It's more of our focus on a website is how do we get clients or prospects or leads or sales for the clients we're building websites for. So it's not so much about how flashy can we make it or how this thing works. It's a tool, and using a tool to make money, how do we make that happen? So a lot of the flashiness gets eliminated. There are cool websites out there that have, all these moving pieces and bells and whistles, but are they converting clients? Are they turning, leads and prospects into sales? That's the question that needs to be asked.
That is such an important question. I was taking a business course over the last few months, and each week there was a presenter who would come on and talk about whatever their area of expertise was. So this one person specializes in launches, book launches, website launches. And what I learned, I know this is going to sound so ridiculous, but what I learned was what I alluded to earlier is that first part, the top of the fold, when you go to a website, that first part of the website is so vitally important. And I had no idea. I just had a picture of me and all the stuff that I do. Who cares, right? Nobody's coming there to hear about me. They want to know, how can I help them? And so for the time that this website's been up, it's been absolutely of no value, really, except to be able to book to get on the show, which obviously is important. So my point is, I'm just wondering how many people out there who are listening or watching who will later when it's not live, have you really had an assessment of your website by a neutral party who's not as close to it as you are?
That's a good question. Another question too, Adam, is when you're dealing with somebody like Dr. Jacalyn, how do you avoid hurting her feelings?
Well, he actually looked at the website the other day. I could just tell by the look on his face. I already knew.
Right. So we had that conversation, right? And when we did our consultation and kind of looked at your site, one of the questions I asked you was, okay, well, what journey do we want to take the client on? So when someone lands on your website, what do you want them to do first? And then once they do that, what's next? Where do we want them to go to book a meeting, to learn more about you, a book's coming out or something else, or whatever it is that you're going to promote? How do we want that shown on your site so that they go through this chronological journey when they see things on your website? And I think that's part of where the younger web designers lose focus. They can build something flashy, and there's templates out there that we all use. But if you're not asking the client, what is your user going to do on your site? How are they going to get to contacting you or booking a meeting with you? And how do you want that interaction to look and feel like? You missed the mark as a web designer.
Very good point. And I missed the mark of taking us on a commercial break. So we were so interested in what you were saying, Adam, that I wasn't paying attention. So we're going to take a commercial break. We will be right back. Stay with us. We're here with Al Cini and Adam Cortez.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. My name is Al Cini, and I am Dr. Jacalyn's co-host for this episode of the program. And our guest is Adam Cortez, who is a website designer and marketing expert. And Adam, I got a question for you. There are a million ways to build a website, a million at least, a couple hundred anyway. Which one do you use, or do you pick a different one for each kind of job? How do you make that choice?
Yeah, so we use WordPress as our main platform. Most of our businesses are small to mid-size. So for them, they're looking, we talked earlier, just converting clients, right? If they're doing ad spend or any type of lead gen, once they get to the site, how do we convert them? So we're not working with a large scale business that has a bunch of different ways of selling product and stuff like that. We're pretty small. And so, yeah, WordPress is the tool that we use. There's thousands and thousands of different themes out there that you can utilize to make them look different. And, it's just kind of industry standard at this point, especially in the last 5+ years.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's pretty robust and solid and reliable.
They all have their problems is kind of where it all lands. You have Squarespace and Wix and all those other builder tools that are out there that are cheaper, and they all have their issues, right? Wix doesn't do SEO really well. They've changed it a bit. Squarespace is okay to a point, but then if you're trying to grow a business, sometimes it doesn't do everything that you need it to. WordPress has its problems with security, right? So it has issues with hackers getting in and taking over the site and taking things down. But then that's, again, where the designer, developer, our team steps up and, we install the right programs, the right security systems in place so that doesn't happen. You don't want a site that's generating 10, 50, $100,000 a day in sales to go down for a couple hours. That's just not realistic. So there's things that we do to make sure that doesn't happen.
That's important.
Adam, I'm wondering, when you're helping a client design a site, is there some rule of thumb about the number of pages that you should have, or don't go past this number?
Not really. There's the number of pages that you need to get started, right? Your home, your about, services, contact us, your blog page. Those are kind of the standard pages that all companies need to have. Depending on the business you're in, if you're service-based or if you're product-based, you're going to have a bunch of other pages past that, right? So your service pages, you'll probably create more blog posts. Well, each post you create is another page. That's another opportunity for SEO to rank you, and you'll be able to be found on Google easier because of that new page. Just like your product pages, each product is a different page that gets ranked as well. So, you start off with this basic number, but then that grows exponentially based off of what you're doing, what you're showcasing on your site and so forth.
You're raising a point too, Adam. You may start small and then grow it over time. It's not like you have to have everything done all at once. It's kind of an evolving process, because a lot of what you're going to be doing in the future is going to be based on what your customers tell you about the way it works today. Do they do
Right.
those changes themselves, or do you do them? I mean, does your service include maintaining a website for somebody?
Right. So yes, we definitely maintain sites on a regular basis. Some clients don't want to, and they just take the site and run and do whatever else. They may hire someone on Fiverr to do upkeep for them. We manage maybe about 60% of the sites that we build, and that's backups and servicing and adding and changing copy as well. And to the point of SEO, changing copy and updating your site actually helps your ranking, because it looks to Google like you actually care about what you're doing, and adding that content adds relevancy. It shows that you're still around doing things with your website. So doing updates and stuff like that is very helpful. We've had a client, just a little quick story. We had a client that didn't do our maintenance package with us. We did the plugins and updates that we needed, and they left. Well, they never ran updates to their site. They never did anything to it. They just kind of ignored it and let it go. Well, they came back to us a year and a half later because they got hacked and the site went down. So, we took a look, see what we could do. We couldn't bring it up again. So we had to rebuild the website, and they had to pay out of pocket for starting all over again. You need to have, if you can't maintain it, somebody needs to.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty scary after you spend all the time and effort to build something, and then that's really, in a lot of cases, think about the websites you've been going to during the pandemic. I go to Amazon all the time. Imagine if that went down. All the people who have products and services up there that would be without revenue.
Right.
Because in a lot of ways, it's you can have passive income streams from your website.
Right. A lot of businesses do, right? So a good portion of our clientele run digital courses, and a lot of those courses have ad spend attached to it. So while they're sleeping, clients are buying the course, getting onboarded, doing all of that. Well, if the site's no longer there, if the ad spend is spending money to push people to that page where they're onboarding new clients, and that goes down, not only are you losing money on ad spend, you're losing money on what you could be generating while you sleep. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Dr. Jacalyn, have you ever had any Russian hackers post ads for Cialis as spam on blogs on your website?
Not yet.
I've had that happen to me. Happens to me about 3 or 4 times a day, and I'm getting email notifications on my WordPress website that people are trying to hack in as the admin, using the admin account and guessing the admin password. They're doing that about 80 or 90 times a day.
Right.
You deal with that, Adam? Is that something you fix?
Yeah. So there's, even ours, our website, we get hit with stuff like that all the time. And a lot of it is just, like you said, you maintain it, you delete it, you mark it as spam, and you move on. And that's the day-to-day maintenance that needs to happen. You get people that, Russian hackers, wherever they are, that'll try to hack your site, which they'll find your login page and try to log in as admin and do whatever they want to do. And there's plugins out there that will see that and actually stop the IP address that they're at, so that can no longer happen, and they'll block them. And that helps your security, right? Just the level of protection to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen.
And if you think about how important it is, like that's your branding, that's who you are, that's how the consumer, the client, the customer, that's how they see you. So you really have to take accountability and make sure that your site is safe.
Yes,
I think that's critical.
Exactly.
Dr. Jacalyn.
Yes.
What this is a question I've got. I've seen some unbelievably ugly URLs. I mean, people are going to pick a website name, drjacalynllc.com, or you can really go crazy with that text string. How do you help somebody pick a good URL for their business?
It's a good question, and it's a hard one. We've had the problem too when we've rebranded our company, if we were going to change names or not, finding what worked and what doesn't work. There's people buy domains and just sit on them. You want it to be easily spellable, right? So I'm dyslexic. I have a hard time spelling anything. So if I have to look back and forth on how to spell something, I'm going to spell it wrong, and then I'm not going to go to your website. And there's other people like that out in the world. So you got to think about how are people finding you and how are people are looking for your URL. And I say that, and then also in today's world, it doesn't matter so much because people are finding you based off of your keyword search in your blog posts, your ad spend that you're doing on Facebook and Google Ads. So they're clicking on your website because of an image, because something, some copy landed with them that they wanted to read more. So the URL, as important as it might have been before, that isn't so important today because there's so many other ways of people getting to your website other than just typing in the URL in the address bar.
And Dr. Jacalyn's fortunate because she has drjacalyn.com, but there are an awful lot of people out there that their first instinct would be to pick a name that somebody's probably picked 3 or 4 years ago and may not even be using, but is sitting on it. And I just don't know how you go about shopping for something like that.
It takes hours, quite honestly. It's the you have to play with. There's a creative part of it, right? So if you're coming up with a creative name and you just sit on GoDaddy or whatever else domain tool you want to buy your domain from, and see if you can find it. They have suggestion tools now that you give them a couple keywords and they'll bring something up for you. But yeah, it is a process that's not fun if you're new in business and you don't know what to name yourself or what to name your business.
Something I want to share in reference to that, and then we'll take a commercial break, is I have other domain names that I'm sitting on only so other people can't use them because they refer to my business, like rappingwithdrjacalyn.com, a better you.tv, a better you. 3 or 4 other things. So what are your thoughts about that? Is that a smart thing to do to make sure that a competitor can't get a name similar to yours, or is that a waste of time?
No, it's great to do stuff like that. The best thing that you could do, the Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, those kind of URLs, you can always forward those to your main domain so that, if someone types in that domain, it's going to go to your website because it's associated with you. That's one way to utilize them if you don't want to just sit on them and not do anything with it. I've worked with a client that bought 900 domains and it's sitting on her account and she's not doing anything with them yet. And, she may use them someday and she may not, but she's the one that's forking out $11 to $15 a domain every year for each one of them. So it adds up.
It sure does. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. We need to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. Our first sponsorship is really going to be our own commercial that Al and I put together for A Better You, which is our platform for the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's take a look.
Great. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jacalyn. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. And here to tell us more is the creator of A Better You, Al Cini. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. It's always a pleasure working with you and everyone out there. You might be a coach working with individuals professionally or personally, or you might be a consultant working with businesses, or you might be a trusted advisor specializing in an area like finance, let's say, or the law or healthcare. Whatever of those roles you relate to, you all have one thing in common, and that is you're working every day to help people become better versions of themselves, a better you. And Dr. Jacalyn's A Better You program is an opportunity for you to express your expertise in a particular area for 15 minutes in front of an audience of people who are looking for help from people like you.
Yep.
So, Dr. Jacalyn, maybe you can tell everybody how they can learn more about this.
It's so easy. You go to abetteryou.tv and you sign up to book your session.
Meet the modern learner. Like most of us, the modern learner is short on time, on the go, and wants to learn on their terms and device of choice. The key is to meet them whenever and wherever they may be. The solution? Best-in-class content served up by the Engagement mobile learning platform, where the modern learner is at the center of the learning experience. For example, they can receive a text message that alerts them to a new learning module. They simply tap, watch, read and engage, or play a fun learning game. We transform your content into modules that are timely, accurate, academically rigorous, yet engaging and robust. Personality motivators are blended with modern adult learning principles to make it faster and more natural to absorb the content and have fun while learning. Our cutting-edge platform offers something for everyone. It can be an immersive experience where learners explore and engage based on what's relevant to them in that moment, or they can follow a set curriculum, earning badges and tracking points toward a credit or goal, or they can dive deeper into high-value professional content relating to their topic of interest. It's binge learning at its best. All this, along with an entire portfolio of real-time usable data and KPIs for stakeholders. Imagine, share up-to-the-minute news, enhance current curriculum, build knowledge banks, drive sales, and foster community in the push of a button. To learn more or see a demo, please contact support@engagement.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. My name is Al Cini. Dr. Jacalyn, what a pleasure. You found a great guest today.
Well, I have to say, once again, it's because of my connection to you getting me on Lunch Club, because that's how I met Adam, on Lunch Club.
It was a Lunch Club connection. That's great. Adam, we got Google out there, and Google is kind of like the sheriff of the territory now, because if they don't like your website, they'll lower your ranks or not lead people to your site at all. What do you have to avoid doing to keep Google friendly to your website?
That's a good question. So Google has a list of rules that you need to follow. And sometimes it can be pretty vague, and sometimes it's very specific. In the last 6 months, a little bit longer, things have turned to mobile friendliness and site speed. So one of the big factors now of Google showing your site on a higher ranked rating is your website mobile friendly? Is the speed of load quicker than 3 seconds? If it's slower, it kind of tosses you to the wayside. And there's a bunch of tools out there. Web.dev is one of Google's tools. There's a couple other ones out there that you can use that are free to really check your site speed and know what's working or not working. And you just kind of play by their rules. And that's how they rank and rate and raise your site to the top of SEO rankings, or leave you down at the bottom.
Well,
Adam, I have a question about that. So I go in and I check my website to see where on the platform that I'm on, it gives a ranking, a percentage, and then how many people are viewing my site on a weekly basis. So I'm typically at 96 to 97%, and there's about 250 to 350 unique views per week. Is that good? Is that bad? I have no idea.
Yeah, so that's decent. It could always be better is the best answer I can give you. It could always be better. And I'm guessing a lot of your traffic is coming, I haven't done an SEO search, so I can't tell you for sure, but a lot of your clicks of people going to your site should be coming from these broadcasts, from the social media push outs that you do. So your viewership are called direct clicks, right? They're going from one platform to your platform because they see it. The other number that you want to look at, so in Google Analytics, is your organic reach. So if people are searching for radio show hosts to get on, you may not be ranked number one. There may be 100 people ahead of you. And so that's the organic search that SEO helps you get in front of. So all of the stuff that you're doing marketing wise is great, but if you're not doing SEO correctly, you're missing out on a huge portion of real estate that can bring in good generic leads.
That's really interesting, because I feel like most of what I'm doing is pushing instead of getting things sent to me. It's me pushing people to the site. That's why I'm so tired. You get it? Why I'm so
exhausting. You're pushing all day.
I'm so pushy.
But that raises another question, Adam. Does it pay to push people to your website or to your social media links? I mean, when you're out there pushing, do I want them to go to Twitter to follow me, or do I want them to go to my website and then go to Twitter from there? Or?
Yeah, so it depends. That's the best answer, and I know that's the worst answer to give, but it just depends. So if I'm a business coach, right? So my programs to purchase my business coaching products are on my website, but I have Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all the social media platforms. Well, I want people to end up going to my sales page to sign up for a one-to-one call. So you want to be engaged. You're creating community in all of these social media platforms that you're in, because let's say on Facebook, you're in a bunch of different groups and you're cultivating relationships, but you still want them to end up clicking to go to your website so they can join your program. So, yes, it's important, but you also want to direct them to the site. You want them to get to your site to make a purchase, and that's where it's important.
Okay. I'm also, you just talked about SEO and keywords. So for people out there who are not familiar with obviously keywords we can try to figure out, but what is the importance of keywords and how do you select them?
Great question.
Yeah. So there's a longer process that goes into keyword selection. There's some research of figuring out, what are people searching for. So my dad owns a glass company in the Bay Area. So, we're targeting shower doors, San Jose, closet doors, San Jose, windows, San Jose, because people are looking for those search terms. So in his website, each page is, a window page has windows San Jose, closet door has closet door San Jose, and the content that's on those pages matches that keyword. And that's how it gets ranked. So then when you search closet door San Jose, his website pops up and it's that page that's showing, because as a buyer, right, if you're searching Google to buy shower doors in San Jose, that's what you want to find, right? You want to find that page where I'm going to call to order a shower or a closet door, or I want to go into the showroom so I can see the different options and eventually purchase. So that's where keywords become so important. So Google has their own tools. There's other tools out there as well that allow you to see, is there 500 or 5,000 people looking at this keyword? And if they are, and it's not competitive, right? So there's not 200 people in San Jose trying to rank for that keyword. That's where you want to use it. There's a sweet spot between how searchable is the keyword, and then also how many other companies are trying to be ranked for that same keyword as well.
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
That's why I'm in business, and I will always be in business as long as Google's running.
Well, I know, Adam, you're connecting with the program today from your home in Mexico. And so I guess I have a question for you, and that is a bilingual website important? Who is it important for?
It's important for the buyers. If you're serving, again, it depends on your business, what you're doing for your business. So for my dad's company that's in San Jose, that's, he is serving a bilingual community. So it is important to have a bilingual website and SEO and content that matches. It's more work and it's more money on his part to do that. So then it's, at what point, what's beneficial to him? Are the community spending the money? Is it not spent? Are they buying from him because he's promoting in Spanish or not? My business, we have business in Amsterdam and Netherlands, in France, and in Spain. I don't necessarily have my website in all those different languages because my clientele still speaks English and their clients speak English. So, I don't need to make my site multilingual right now. So it's just things you need to think about as a business. Like, is your clientele spending the money where it makes sense to make it multilingual, or do you just leave it as one?
But if my business had a lot of, let's say, Spanish-speaking prospects, would you be able to build a bilingual website for me?
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely do that on a regular basis. So the bilingual website, doing ads in Spanish as well, and then doing the SEO in both languages.
Good to know.
So Adam, if we have a global audience for our shows, we have, co-hosts who are outside the United States. I'm wondering, is Spanish the next, would that be, if you have to pick one other language, it would be Spanish?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Some of the biggest markets that are out there speak Spanish. You definitely have the French-speaking market that's out there too that has some traction. But so our clientele that speaks Spanish are Spain, Cuba, and I'm drawing a blank now because now I need to list them. Obviously, Mexico, Argentina, and Colombia. And some parts of Ecuador, they all speak Spanish. So for us, it's advantageous to do some ad spend in Spanish, but it just depends. It all depends.
Well, I mean, that's a consideration. And another reason why maybe just building it yourself isn't a great option. I think it's a real value in having you on the program, Adam, is that a lot of people may be thinking about hiring an expert. And the good thing about what you do is that you could do it theoretically for clients anywhere in the world. And you mentioned you've got a large number of clients outside the United States, outside of North America that you work with.
Yep. Correct.
That's good. What's a good hosting platform? Or maybe better, what's a bad hosting platform?
So I'm biased. So I use DreamHost. That's the one hosting platform I love, and I've been using them for 10 years. We use all of them because clients pick and choose what platform they want to be on. And so, it's up to the client. I do tell clients to stay away from the cheaper options like Fat Cow. Again, now that I'm listing them, I'm drawing a blank. GoDaddy is actually one of the hosting providers I hate. And it's really more because those servers get hacked the most and cause the most problems. We've had more websites go down that were hosted on GoDaddy than any other service provider out there. So you're looking at, uptime. What's the guarantee of uptime? What's the support level that you're getting from, the hosting company? And then, storage space, all of that, plus, price takes into account. Now, if you're running a service-based business, just a basic business, you're doing $100,000 to $500,000 a year in sales. You're doing a little bit of ad spend and Facebook ads. You shouldn't be spending more than $400 a year on hosting. You should be within the $100 to $400 range. But when you start growing and expanding and you're getting a lot of traction on your website and, there's multiple people on your website at a time, that's when you're going to start spending more money on hosting because that server has to get serviced more, and there's just more traction that goes into it. So, that's your little sweet spot.
Yes. Sorry, there's a lot of noise going on. So I can tell that the seasons are changing because they're mowing lawns now, which I never had to do this before, so I apologize. I do want to say hello to a few folks who are watching the show. Marie McGuire, Mohammed Shorfi, Cindy First, and I lost it. I'm not going to say this right. Sheg Amezu Bright. Thank you so much for watching.
Interesting. That's great.
Yes.
Adam, there are a bunch of people who are coaches. Dr. Jacalyn is kind of a high-end version, but there are a lot of people that are solopreneurs. And I know a few of them, and a lot of them are saying things like, I'm afraid to have a website because then people will be able to find me physically. And I feel like that exposes me. How do you make people feel comfortable with the idea of having a website if they're just afraid of being found physically, if you know what I mean?
So coaches are an interesting community. We have a lot of experience with them and with that community as a whole. And say this as nice as possible. They hide a lot. They hide from being found, from being seen, putting themselves out there, doing the work, being, whether it's doing sales or putting their website out into the world. There's a internal fear with coaches that we see as people that work with them and support them. Putting a website out and up in the world doesn't mean people can find your home and go after you and attack you, or, that's not a thing that happens. You can securely hide your billing address and all of that information within GoDaddy by paying a fee, or paying, any of your domain service providers. That you don't have to have your physical business mailing address on your site. It helps SEO. But if you have an office space or you have a PO box, you can always put that, and that's your location for your website. We've helped a bunch of people that are outside the U.S. that market to the U.S. Without having an address on there. So that I've heard that comment before, and it's more their internal fear of being seen as a business owner than it is actually physically being found.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that in a lot of ways you're restricting your opportunities by, it's an irrational fear that you could manage, especially if you work with an expert like Adam. And, it just strikes me as a mistake that a coach might make, especially considering that millennials these days, younger people, won't consider doing business with older people who don't have a website.
Yeah. Having a website is your first calling card now, right? It's before you used to have a business card, a piece of paper that had all your stuff on it, how to contact me and all that. Now it's a website. So if I can't find you, I can't prove that you exist. I can't do a quick Google search and see that you've done things. I don't want to work with you. I don't have trust with you yet. Just like when you're hiring a web designer like me, you want to see a portfolio of work that I've done. So I got to show you that I've done the work. I've done these things. I've been doing it for 13 years, 14 years. So there's that social proof. I'll give you an example. I was just watching a TikTok the other day and someone brought this up. They were ordering off of Uber Eats from a restaurant that looked good, and it was great. Didn't check it out, didn't look at it. It was a ghost kitchen. It was a ghost kitchen that was using Denny's kitchen to make food, but essentially it was using Denny's recipes to make this food. So she overpaid for what seemed like good food, or just, another Denny's recipe, and it pissed her off. But when she finally Googled it and searched and, did some research on what they were doing, she realized it was still Denny's. So the reason you have a website, reason you have your social media, is so that you have your social proof that people can find you, that you're a real person doing the work, and they want to do business with you.
Right. They're all valid points. Something I think is interesting is when I go to a website, you hit the URL and then you get to the site and it says not secure. And I think, come on, you're not going to pay whatever amount of money to keep your site secure. Why is it people don't realize that?
So that's actually an easy thing that gets lost in the mix of building a site. Really what it is pushing a button in the back end that gives that secure SSL certificate. It expires. It doesn't last forever. So it's a new piece of tech that has to get re-upped every 30 days, 60 days. Some hosting companies do it automatically, as they should at this point. A lot of them don't. And so you have to go in there manually and do it. So as part of the maintenance, that's what we make sure happens. But you see a lot of sites out there that they just lose track of it and doesn't have that secure SSL certificate. And then you get the, website's not secure, turn around, go back now. And it just means it's not updated, right? No one's maintaining that site. So you don't know who is there anymore.
Yeah, for me, it makes me feel uncomfortable being there, that maybe people are going to be collecting my information and using it some way. Which
probably scares off
exactly
a lot of people. That's a detail you want covered. And, Adam, I know we're coming up on the end of the program. There are people out there that are thinking about building a website or maybe redoing their website. Might want to give you a call. How do you price your services? What is an engagement with you like?
Yeah, it depends on the size and scope. A single page website is, if you're just doing like a landing page to sell your services on, yeah, it's cheaper. We're around that $500 mark or something like that. A coach that's coming to us that needs a full blown website, it's going to cost them anywhere from, $1,500 to $5,000, depending on what exactly they need and what the services are going to be and how many pages we need to create. And then there's always room for negotiation in the middle of that as you start to grow and scale and if you don't need everything as well. But that's where we kind of land.
I like the fact that you offer various services and you have different options for people, because when people are, maybe someone's literally just starting out, or maybe someone's been in business for a long time, and obviously they're going to have different needs and different projects.
Right. We just did a coach the other day that was, she just needed somewhere to put her services so that she can do sales calls and send them to the site so they can make a payment. And that's what we did. It was $500 and it was quick. And she made about $5,000 in a week. So it already paid for itself, the minute we finished. And that was all that she needed.
That's excellent.
I love those boards. Yeah. How long from, I'm sorry, I was just going to ask, how long from start to finish, Adam, to get something up and running?
It depends. And it can be as quick as 3 weeks. If the client delivers everything, so that's, we work with them on creating copy and artwork, design work as well. If they need us to do all of it, all the copy, all the graphics, all the logos, all of that, it takes longer. We have team members that take all that piece on. So there's interviews that have to go on and stuff like that. We've had clients that, say, oh, we'll do the copy ourselves, just build out the site. And it takes them 1.5 years to get us the copy because they're scared and hiding. And it happens.
It really does. It's amazing how many people I speak to that they have this incredible fear of doing something. They want to do something, but they're just so afraid to even take the first step. So it's great to know that you and your company are there to help them overcome that fear and get to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
So Adam,
you would not believe. So sorry.
Okay.
I said you would not believe how many people pay in full and then disappear because they're afraid to be seen online.
Really?
Listen, I personally know people I've had in my life for a long time who are terrified of social media. They build it, they have a page or a profile and they're never on there. Like, oh, I'm afraid. I don't want to be on there. It's like, what are you afraid of?
Success.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Seriously, because that's what you need to do. So,
yeah. Adam, for people who are listening on Business Talk Radio, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, go to my website, arccreativeco.com. You can book a meeting with me directly at arccreativeco.com/connect. And, we can do a discovery call, check out your website, see if you're a good fit to work with us. We do brand new sites for someone that's never done anything before, or we could definitely help you rebrand and rebuild a site that, isn't looking so great and it needs a revamp.
Great, Adam.
Fantastic. And I'm just going to spell your name just in case people if they're listening and they don't know how to spell it. It's ADAMCORTEZ. You can find Adam on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam. It was a pleasure having you. And
Thanks, Adam. Great interview.
yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. That was a great show. So much information that really is applicable to.
So much information. There's so many people out there that are just terrified by the whole thing. And, it's not that much money. It doesn't take that much time. And it's definitely a worthwhile investment for somebody that's serious about building a business.
So let's just recap. So basically, if you're a business owner, regardless of your type of business, you should have a website. And your website helps you get found. If you don't want to get found, why are you in business? I don't really understand that, right?
And it should be a new website, because there are an awful lot of people that built a website in the 90s. So they've got animated GIFs and clunky little objects. And there are an awful lot of websites that haven't been touched in a long time now. And, it pays to update and freshen up the look of your website. You certainly want to clarify your message to the marketplace.
And I just want to share a personal story with people listening and watching. So I've put so many hours into my website personally, which is not making me any money. Okay. While I'm doing all of this work, I'm actually losing money because my time is being wasted working on the website, because I'm not an expert. Adam is an expert. So working with him, working with his team, that's going to put you ahead of the game by leaps and bounds. So
what might take you a day, he might be able to do in 5 minutes.
Right.
And that's a huge economy in that. Definitely.
And you also want to make sure that your website's secure. You want to make sure that you have a good URL that's easy for people to remember. I mean, some of these URLs, people they have dashes and this. It's just make it simple.
I typed them. I know what you mean.
So I'm going to just stream Adam's information again. Please reach out to Adam Cortez, and his website is www.arccreativeco.com. That's Adam Cortez. You can find him on LinkedIn. Al, what final words do you have for our audience for today?
None, except that an awful lot of what you're afraid of is what's holding you back. And that is a coaching point. It's not just a website point. There is such a thing as fear of success. There is such a thing as self-defeating beliefs. And sometimes I think working with experts and sometimes working with coaches like Dr. Jacalyn are good ways to overcome a lot of those things that are holding you back. So it was great to talk about a lot of that today.
Yeah, Adam was a great guest. And once again, we're not paid sponsors by Lunch Club. If you're not on Lunch Club, what are you doing? If you don't have a website, what are you doing?
It is a way to meet people, definitely.
There's all these resources out there, and you're at home, and you could be taking advantage of them. So
true.
Al, before we go, we have another show this afternoon at 4:00, A Better You. And since you are the founder and the creator and the genius behind this, would you please tell our audience what is A Better You and why should they care?
Well, A Better You is an opportunity that Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn is offering to experts, people who are very knowledgeable in a particular body of information, something that you know better than anybody else. It's a chance for you to get out there with your expertise to get yourself introduced to people who might need your help. And so whether you're a coach or a consultant or a trusted advisor, you want to consider making a presentation on A Better You, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you, Al. And we are in the process of launching A Better You University, which should be launched by the end of this month. And why is that important? Because whether you have your own content or you create content here on our platform, we will put it up onto A Better You University along with a 5-question quiz. We'll make a custom intro or outro, or you can do it yourself. You can do the editing yourself, have a 5-question quiz. We'll put it up on the university, and then we can start marketing it for you. You can market yourself, but you can start making passive income. We're all about trying to help other people. So while you're at home, think about this. Do you already have content, coursework, lessons that are ready to go? And you can develop a 5-question quiz, and you can put it up on A Better You University. So while you're sleeping, you're making money. While you're coaching, you're making money. While you're selling, you're making money. Get the gist of it, Al?
That is pretty much, I think that pretty much nails it down. I mean, it's a coach multiplier. It's a consultant multiplier. It's a way for you to be in more than one place at a time, which otherwise would be impossible. Great opportunity. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. So if you want to grow your network, increase your brand awareness, become a presenter on A Better You, get your pencil, get your paper, write down abetteryou.tv, abetteryou.tv, and book your session. That's all that we have for you today. Join us at 4:00 right here on Business Talk Radio, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch TV. All of our shows then become podcasts. We're on Apple, Amazon, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and Pandora. 11 platforms for your listening and viewing pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, Al. Thanks for doing a great job as always.
Such a pleasure, Doc. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you after this. Next time, 4:00. Bye.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.